On an April afternoon in 1974, amid the charred remains of a small brush fire in Florida, a family stumbled upon a smooth, metallic sphere gleaming under the sunlight. And from that very moment, strange things began to happen. So fasten your seatbelt, because what comes next is anything but ordinary. But first, you might just have incredible luck if you like and subscribe before this video ends. It was a warm spring afternoon when the Carlson family was walking across their large property on Fort George Island in northern Florida. That's when an unusual glint of light caught their attention. Resting quietly among the scorched grass was a perfectly round, shiny silver object. It wasn't large, only about 8 inches in diameter, but weighed over 20 pounds. Its outer surface was flawless, smooth, polished, and without a single scratch, dent, or spot of rust. No one in the family could figure out where it had come from or why it was there in the first place. Some guessed it might be an old cannonball from the Spanish colonial era. Others thought it was a discarded piece of industrial machinery. But whatever it was, the sphere carried an undeniable and inexplicable pull. At first, the Carlsons believed they had simply stumbled upon a strange old artifact. They brought it home, thinking it might make a cool, decorative piece. But they had no idea that this seemingly harmless object would become the center of one of the most baffling and enduring mysteries ever reported on American soil. A mystery that would soon draw the attention of journalists, scientists, UFO researchers, and eventually, even the federal government. In the first few days after bringing the sphere home, the Carlson family didn't think much of it. Despite its odd design and strange weight, they assumed it was just some kind of relic, maybe something that had fallen off a cargo ship or been abandoned decades ago. But then, something strange happened. At the time, David Carlson, the eldest son, was sitting in the living room, playing his guitar like he often did. That's when he noticed something odd. As the guitar's music filled the room, the sphere began to vibrate, just slightly, almost too subtle to notice at first. David initially thought it might be basic resonance, a simple vibration from the sound waves bouncing off the metal surface. But within minutes, it became clear that something far stranger was going on. The sphere wasn't just vibrating. It seemed to be responding to the music. It moved in rhythm, not at random, but in sync, as if it were intentionally reacting to the melody. As the family began to observe more closely, they noticed that the sphere didn't just respond to sound. It could move. The object began to roll slowly across the floor, as if being pulled by an invisible hand. Even more bizarrely, it would change direction mid-motion, without hitting anything. It even rolled gently up an inclined surface, seemingly defying gravity itself. It didn't take long before word began to spread. Within a week of the first unusual events, the Carlson family home was buzzing with attention. Local reporters from Jacksonville ran the first article under the headline, "The Strange Sphere, a New Mystery at Carlson Manor," a nod to both the bizarre object and the house itself, which had long been the subject of local curiosity. The Carlson residence, isolated on Fort George Island, was no ordinary home. It had once been a long-abandoned estate with classical architecture and countless whispered tales about something eerie lingering in its quiet halls. When the Carlson family purchased the property, they renovated it completely, transforming it into a spacious and serene home. Unlike the types of people often found at the center of such stories, Deborah Carlson was not superstitious, nor was she easily influenced. In fact, she was a well-known figure in the local community. She operated a mid-sized logistics firm and was widely respected as a sharp, no-nonsense businesswoman. Deborah had participated in various civic initiatives and even made appearances in the media as a spokesperson for regional entrepreneurs. This is precisely why her public confirmation of the sphere's strange behavior made it nearly impossible for the public to dismiss the story outright. To many observers, if someone like Deborah Carlson, someone with a solid reputation to protect, was willing to put her credibility on the line for such an unbelievable account, then maybe this bizarre object wasn't just a harmless steel ball after all. Soon, the media descended upon the property. Reporters, photographers, independent filmmakers, and self-proclaimed experts in extraterrestrial phenomena started showing up at the Carlson's door. Some brought audio equipment, electromagnetic sensors, or handheld film cameras. All of them hoped to witness the sphere in motion, just as the rumors had described. And remarkably, several of them walked away with stunned expressions on their faces. As reports of the sphere spread beyond Florida, the story began drawing attention not only from the press, but also from branches of the U.S. government. Among them, the agency that showed the most direct and visible interest was the U.S. Navy. High-ranking officials in the region speculated that the sphere might be a remnant of a classified experiment or perhaps a surviving piece of Cold War-era surveillance technology. With the full consent of the Carlson family, the sphere was transported to Mayport Naval Station in Jacksonville for an initial assessment. There, technicians began with X-ray imaging in hopes of revealing the object's internal structure, or at the very least, some information about its material composition. But the results only deepened the mystery. Standard X-ray machines failed to penetrate the sphere's outer shell. Though the metal surface appeared similar to stainless steel, its density and reflectivity far surpassed the scanning capabilities available at the base. This prompted the team to transfer the sphere to a more advanced facility within Jacksonville, one equipped with higher-powered imaging technology. It was only then that the first images of the sphere's interior were finally captured. According to the initial internal report, the metallic shell measured approximately half an inch thick and enclosed a hollow chamber. Inside that space, technicians observed 3 smaller metallic objects, each roughly spherical in shape, along with a small amount of fine powder settled at the bottom, believed to be either sand or an unidentified particulate substance. The experts refrained from drawing any firm conclusions, but one thing was evident. The internal design of the object did not correspond to any known commercial or military equipment. One curious detail that drew significant attention was a small triangular marking etched into the sphere's outer surface. Some analysts speculated that the marking might be related to its unusual motion, possibly serving as a point of slight imbalance that could cause erratic rolling. However, that theory was quickly dismissed, especially by the Mitchell family and several independent witnesses who had seen the sphere in action. According to them, the object didn't just roll. It would stop, shift direction, and seemingly avoid obstacles on its own. None of those movements could be explained by mere weight distribution. Once testing concluded, the U.S. Navy issued no official statement regarding its findings. When questioned by the media, a spokesperson simply stated that the object posed no threat and was not a piece of U.S. military equipment. Still, the public remained skeptical. If it wasn't military, they asked, why had the Navy invested so many resources into analyzing it? That unanswered question sparked a surge of speculation. Some believed the sphere was a component of a classified government experiment that had gone astray during field operations. Others leaned toward a far more radical theory. The object did not originate from any known industrial process on Earth and might be of extraterrestrial origin. Just as the debate began fracturing into opposing camps, an unexpected figure entered the investigation. Someone whose reputation commanded attention from both the scientific community and UFO researchers alike. Amid the media frenzy and the lack of definitive conclusions, a prominent name from the scientific world stepped forward, Dr. Calvin A. Hartley. Dr. Hartley was a well-established astrophysicist, known for his tenure at the University of Chicago and his former role as chief science advisor to the U.S. Air Force's Skyscan Initiative, a classified research project comparable to Project Blue Book. Although he started his career as a staunch skeptic, Hartley eventually became one of the most respected advocates for rigorous scientific examination of unexplained aerial phenomena. Once Dr. Hartley expressed interest in the so-called Mitchell Sphere, the tone of the national conversation shifted. He personally requested to stay at the Mitchell family's residence for several days, with one objective in mind: to observe the sphere up close and witness the strange occurrences that the family had described. One particularly memorable event occurred during his stay. Dr. Hartley requested to spend the night in the same room as the sphere, alone. When asked why he was so interested, Dr. Marcus Harlan responded simply, "I want to know if it responds when no one is watching." During his stay, Harlan conducted a series of minor experiments. He measured the sphere's magnetic field, tested its reaction to sound, and meticulously documented every motion, vibration, and unusual occurrence. Yet, despite growing curiosity around his observations, he never published a formal report about the visit. However, several people who were present during those days confirmed that Dr. Harlan had personally witnessed many of the same strange phenomena that the family had described. His involvement also triggered a chain of significant events. In 1975, the National Science Review organized a scientific symposium that brought together experts in psychology, physics, biology, and engineering. The goal was to examine a collection of unexplained phenomena. Among the featured items was the so-called Bellamy Sphere. At the conference, the sphere wasn't just passively observed. It was subjected to multiple independent tests. Once again, it was reported to move on its own in ways that defied logical explanation, at times even rolling uphill, seemingly against the pull of gravity. It was at this symposium that a physicist named Dr. James Carver made a startling announcement. He claimed that X-ray scans of the sphere's internal chamber revealed smaller metallic spheres made of elements with atomic weights beyond anything documented on Earth, reportedly surpassing atomic number 40. Dr. Carver went so far as to issue a stark warning. If anyone attempted to drill into the sphere's outer shell, it could potentially unleash an extreme energy release, comparable to a nuclear detonation. While some theorized that the Bellamy Sphere was part of an advanced gyroscopic device, possibly from a classified military experiment, others suggested it might be extraterrestrial in origin. The sphere's ability to defy gravity, reverse direction without apparent force, and its intricate layered structure all echoed the characteristics of inertial navigation systems used in satellites or advanced missiles. Then, an unexpected claim resurfaced. A local sculptor named Jonathan Derwin claimed that in 1971, 3 years before the sphere was discovered, he had transported several similar metal spheres on the roof of his van for an art installation. He speculated that one might have accidentally fallen off near the Jacksonville area. Adding to the debate, another theory emerged in local newspapers. Perhaps the object was nothing more than an industrial ball check valve, a component commonly used in oil rigs and hydraulic systems. As public opinion became divided, some dismissing the story as exaggerated, others convinced it pointed to advanced, non-human technology, the case took yet another remarkable turn. In 2023, during a public hearing before the U.S. Senate, the Department of Defense released footage captured by a Reaper drone over the Middle East. The video showed a metallic sphere traveling at high speed, hovering midair, without wings, visible propulsion, or heat emissions. According to military analysts, this object did not match any known human-made aircraft. Its appearance bore an uncanny resemblance to the mysterious sphere found on Fort Hamilton Island nearly 50 years earlier. Although the vast distance in time and geography made any direct connection speculative, the physical similarities stirred serious concern. And this wasn't the first time such objects have been spotted. In 2016, another U.S. reconnaissance drone operating over Mosul, Iraq, recorded footage of a similar spherical object, one that also could not be detected by radar or tracked through conventional methods. What was once considered fringe speculation was now quietly becoming public knowledge. Meanwhile, scientific curiosity took a bold leap in a different direction. In 2023, a team of researchers led by Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Elias Noble launched a deep-sea expedition off the coast of Papua New Guinea. Their mission was to locate fragments from a meteor that had fallen into the ocean in 2014. The results exceeded expectations. After 2 weeks of combing the seafloor, the team recovered hundreds of tiny metallic spheres, each just a few millimeters in diameter, with a composition unlike anything known on Earth. These spheres were primarily made of nickel and iron, but in ratios and microscopic formations that defied known geological and industrial processes. Some scientists even suggested they could be remnants of ancient or possibly non-human technology. Even within the realm of archaeology, strange spheres have been discovered, though they've received surprisingly little attention. At Teotihuacan, one of the most significant ancient sites in Mexico, archaeologists uncovered hundreds of small spheres beneath the temple of the feathered serpent. These spheres range from 1.5 to 5 inches in diameter. Made of clay, they were coated in a shimmering layer of pyrite, giving them a metallic luster that sparkled like polished steel. What's truly fascinating is that these objects were hidden in a sealed underground chamber, completely out of sight unless the entire temple structure was excavated. From a quiet residence in Florida to the arid deserts of Iraq, from the ocean depths of the Pacific to the buried temples of ancient Mexico, these spheres keep surfacing. They share uncanny similarities in geometry, composition, and mystery, and they compel us to ask a deeper question. Could all of these mysterious fragments be quietly forming the outline of a much larger story, one we've never truly imagined? If this story made you pause and think, or sparked a theory of your own, feel free to share in the comments below. I'm always eager to read, reflect, and go deeper with you into the mysteries that remain unsolved. And if you're interested in continuing this journey through the unknown, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next mystery.